Hey everyone, Eugene here. Let's look at what's ahead of Election Day. Global stock markets seem priced for a Republican sweep of both the House of Representatives and the Senate. While social media sites say they are committed to tackling disinformation and hate on their platforms ahead of the poll for My Undercover Voters, misleading and violent posts have only increased in recent weeks. The native token of crypto exchange FTX plunged 20 amid a range of reports and speculation that dragged the whole crypto complex lower. China stocks also underperformed wider markets as speculation over easing of COVID-19 curbs ebbed again. Japan said its foreign reserves fell for a third consecutive month to 119 trillion. Some senior White House officials have been second-guessing their messaging to voters around abortion in recent weeks. Some have asked if party leaders and the Joe Biden White House should have spent more time talking about the U.S. economy and less about women's reproductive rights. The number of families facing a decision on abortion is far less than those worrying about the economy at any point in time. The White House has asked the DNC to gather data for an election postmortem to identify what messages worked and what did not. Wisconsin witnessed a big jump in women's voter registration just after the Supreme Court ruling, according to data from Target Smart, a research group run by Democratic political strategist Tom Bonnier. Women in these states account for a larger share of their early vote at this point than they did in 2020 or 2018. Montana voters will be asked about a so-called Born Alive law which would require medical care to be provided to infants born alive after a failed abortion. A measure in Kentucky would establish that the state constitution does not protect or recognize a right to an abortion. Hong Kong and China benchmarks down 1 as bets on China reopen subside. London and New York will open lower with FTSE futures and E-mini futures for SP 500 index down 0.55 and 0.18 respectively. Japan's Nikkei 225N 225 gained as much as 144, hitting an 8-week high as investors scooped up chips. Analysts said U.S. midterm elections on Tuesday could affect markets. Control of the U.S. House of Representatives is at stake in the midterms, with Republicans favored by nonpartisan forecasters to win control of Congress. The first polls closed at 6 p.m. Eastern Time 2100 GMT in Kentucky. 35 Senate seats and all 435 House of Representatives seats are on the ballot. Republicans widely favored to pick up the 5 seats they need to control the House. Over 46 million Americans voted ahead of Election Day, either by mail or in person, according to data from the U.S. Election Project. Control of the Senate might not be known until a potential December 6 runoff in Georgia. The prevalence of election deniers among Republican candidates has elevated down ballot races that typically receive little attention. Democrats fear that if they prevail, they could interfere with the 2024 presidential race. Pro-Kremlin forces in Russia are hoping that the Republicans win control of Congress. A Republican victory in the U.S. congressional elections will not lead to a revolution in U.S. foreign policy and an end to Washington's support for Ukraine. However, the Biden administration will find it more difficult to push financial aid programs to Kyiv through Congress, and the position of U.S. critics of unlimited aid to Ukraine will markedly strengthen.